Okay, unfortunately our friend REVan couldn't make it up to Will's performance, but he's with us remotely. And what we wanted to show you today is something that's pretty straightforward and easy to do, but it does get a lot of questions. So this is for the travel limiting VCT for the Ford Godzilla engine. As you guys know, we did that awesome BTR truck Norris cam. We talked about that online, but we haven't put the video up of the BTR cam yet. But that thing is one bad bitch. It performed awesomely down low. And on a completely stock engine, it picked up over 100 horsepower. So one change, 100 horsepower, pretty badass. But with that, we took advantage of the variable cam timing so we could get the bottom end and the top end. So BTR is offered a timing wedge that limits the travel. And the reason you need to limit the travel is Ford, with the variable cam timing, used a lot of retard capability, up to 55 degrees. And the reason they needed that is to use variable cam timing for internal exhaust gas recirculation, or EGR. So we won't need anywhere near that amount of travel with this cam. And if you did go to that full 55 degree retard, you could end up with exhaust valves hitting the piston. So we do need to limit that travel when you use pretty much any aftermarket cam. So this video is going to show you how to do that. It's really straightforward. The only tricky part, as you'll see in the video, is when you have to rewind that clock spring and reinstall that. So hope you enjoy the video, and hopefully it's very informative. The purpose of this video is to show how to take the Godzilla VCT apart and put it back together while you're making it travel limited. It's all really quite easy, except for the one part of putting the spring back on, which I'll go over a pretty crude method that I use. I'm sure there's other creative people that have come up with more easier ways to do it. What we have here are the tools that you need to do, that I use to do this. So first, Harbor Freight. This is a oil filter wrench. That's a pair of vice grips, a 3/8 drive ratchet, a pair of side cutters that I use to help get the fasteners out, and then these two pieces. This is just a 3/8 extension, and this is some baling wire that I use to pull the spring back around. We'll get to that a little bit later. So first, this is the VCT. You know, one thing that everybody learns is, mark things and take pictures as you take it apart. So we'll have some B-roll photos in here to help you understand. But what I do is, I look at something that you won't get wrong. So this is obviously that connects to the camshaft to align the VCT unit with the cam to get the correct cam timing. And then I put, hey, this is a long fastener, and this is the end of the spring. So right there, the end of the spring. This is long, and it goes over the spring on the side, so you won't actually be able to see it when you look at the side, but it goes between the two coil units. And then these two are short. So what I do, and I already have one taken apart just to make it a bit easier so we can just keep this video reasonably short, I put this over the top of the VCT unit to hold it, and that would go like so. Adjust it to fit, and then I use that as a clamp. And then I put that in my vise. Is my friend to help me. I'm out in the shop. So I just put that in there. And then I take my Torx bit that fits. And the problem with these is these are like a Torx Plus or something kind of special that they use on the VCT. So a typical Torx bit is a little bit loose. So always, one more time, always never take your impact to take it apart. You have a good chance of stripping this. Just go put the Torx in there, and in a nice controlled motion, very slowly applying torque, and then loosen these all up. Okay, so once you do that to all of them, you get them loose, then you can put it on the bench. And if you want to use a small 3/8 drive assist, then you can use that to back these all out. Now, the short ones will come right out, but the long ones have the spring pressure. So this is one I've already taken apart. And what I do for the long ones that have the spring pressure, I hold this down with the hand, keep my fingers up top so nothing will maybe fly out and hit it, and I just put that under the bolt head and I flick them out, and that will get these long ones out. So once you get all these out, again, be very analytical about the way you do it, and then you won't have a problem putting it back together. Longs come up with longs, shorts for the shorts. You pull this cover plate out, and then looking in the VCT, all these cavities are open. Now in advance, what I did, normally I'd use the Brian Tooley Racing travel limiter. I just did not have one on the shelf here. So what I did was I just put a little socket head screw in to limit my travel. This will actually probably give it more travel than needed, but I'm going to be doing some development work, so I probably want to go beyond the norm just so I can pick that up. But normally, you just take that cover plate out, you drop the Brian Tooley Racing wedge in, and then you'd set that back in place. And again, then you'd take and put your cover plate back on, and put these short fasteners in. And I just say, not tight, just enough so that you start to get alignment of the unit. And then, back to our old friend, which is the clamp. So you clamp that like that. Now here you want it pretty snug because you're going to be putting a lot of pressure on when you go to put this spring in. So what I do is this can only go in one way, and because you have to have these 3 holes lined up with the 3 in the VCT, so it should be pretty intuitively obvious how that goes. If not, you might be in over your head and want to get a friend to help you. So anyways, that's in place, and then now we've got to take this spring and wind it all the way to there. And it's a pretty intense spring. So this will probably take me, normally things don't go smooth, and it takes a couple takes to get that in there good. So I put this in the vise pretty tight. I have my screws ready. So the first one I put in is the one where it wraps around the spring, that one that showed where the spring pulls over, and then we get the end one. So I have these all handy and ready. I have my little driver ready. I take my very cheesily made tool. I clip that around the end of the VC of the spring. Okay, now we have our spring secured around the baling wire. So here's where this sometimes gets difficult and frustrating. So I pulled it far enough to start this, to get it around the first one, and then you gotta pull it all the way back till you clear that second. Which holds the spring. And once you get those 2 in, that's a good thing. And then you can take your VCT off this, because we are going to want to torque these. So now you can just run them in a little bit. So now that they're all pretty well started, now I put this upside down so I can torque the fasteners. I torque these to about 16 Newton meters. I don't know what the spec is, but that seemed about right to me for the fastener in the way the stretch felt on it to me when I was first started to disassemble these. So again, I just not torquing yet. I'm just kind of getting all that same feel. Oh, that one started to torque. Get that one snugged up. So I'll go just in a cross pattern. So that one, that, and boom, we're done. So now we have a Godzilla travel limiting VCT ready to go in the engine, and that's the fun part. All right, coming to an end. Hopefully that video will make it cleared up on how to install the BTR timing wedge, or if you want to do it yourself and install the 1/4" 28 socket head screw to limit the travel, you can do that as well. It just takes a bit more work because you do have to take it all apart, drill and tap the hole, and then clean things. Where the BTR timing wedge, you just drop it in and go. So until next time, we'll have REVan Evan here. Hit that subscribe button, enjoy it, and have a great day.